gentlemen, we are live. It is the Info Warrior with Jason Bermas this April 18th, 2010, on really the eve of the release of Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined. I want to thank everybody out there that got the links out, that got the PrisonPlanet.tv subscriptions, and is helping get the word out about this feature. Great reviews so far. We'll get into that a little bit later, but I want to concentrate on Oklahoma City in this first segment because it's so important, because they are now resurrecting Oklahoma City as the model for the modern day terrorist, Alex.
And Jason, this only confirms my analysis. I could see them preparing the hype, preparing the fear, prepping the public for it, saying they're going to stage another Oklahoma City. Look what they're doing now. Now they're saying we're going to be nuked. This is the time for people to be more active, more informed, more involved, and warning others than they've ever done. And I'm glad you're going to be leading with this tonight and taking calls and going over the whole section in your film about false flag terror in Oklahoma City. It couldn't be more perfectly timed for what the enemy's doing right now. Great job.
Absolutely. And tomorrow, the mainstream media is going to play for the very first time, Alex, the Oklahoma City confession. And this is essential. They are wheeling this out.
McVeigh's on record saying it was a government op.
Yeah, I know. It's unbelievable. People don't understand. McVeigh is on record, printed in the New York Times. We're going to show you the article as we go through this section in Invisible Empire, where he wrote his sister in an open letter saying, yes, I was part of a covert assassination and drug-running black ops team.
And Terry Nichols, in sworn federal affidavit, says the same thing. Then they threaten to kill your family if you don't go along and go to the Terre Haute, Indiana execution, lethal injection.
And they also happen to drug you up and put you under the guise of the lead mind control ultra doctor. That's correct. We couldn't cover all of these things in Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, because it is a broad film, not only covering false flag terror, the military-industrial complex, the shadow government, the secret society networks. But we can focus in on the fact that, hey, we had tapes of what happened, and they were classified for 15 years. And, hey, when they were declassified, magically, all the sections that would have showed the bombing were gone. But you know what wasn't classified were the local news feeds that day from several different networks showing the ATF and bomb squads going in after the unexploded explosives. Well, let me repeat that for you. The ATF and bomb squad is on film taking out the unexploded bombs at Oklahoma City. Now, don't believe Jason Bermas. Why don't you believe the governor at the time, Frank Keating, whose brother also magically wrote a book called The Last Jihad prior to the OKC bombing, where a Tom McVeigh happens to bomb the Oklahoma City Federal Building. It's all just a coincidence. He only dedicated that book to the Knights of the Secret Circle. There's no such thing as secret societies or a military-industrial complex or even a shadow government. In fact, false flag terror doesn't even exist. But we're going to show you otherwise on the other side. That's what the mainstream media wants you to believe. They want you to believe in a benevolent government that loves you and will take care of you from cradle to grave and would never, ever lie to you, except for when it's in the case of your own good. And the government knows what's good for you, folks. After all, without the government, the sun wouldn't shine. We wouldn't have rainbows or even rain. The government provides it all. So on the other side of this, we're going to play the subsection of Invisible Empire with the OKC bombing. I have no idea what we're in store for tomorrow when they air Timothy McVeigh admitting to bombing the building. Let's not forget about John Doe number 2 either. Yes, there was a second person openly investigated by the FBI in the beginning of the investigation, then all of a sudden he disappeared. And then we have videotapes of Iraqi Republican Guard members crawling all over the scene. Who brought in those Iraqi Republican Guard members? Oh, it was Bush Sr. Oh, a program by Bush Sr. brought in Iraqi Republican Guardsmen to covertly work with the military. And then on those tapes is a terrorist named Al-Husseini Hussein. Is he John Doe number 2? I don't know, but what's he doing there? So on the other side, we're going to play this part of Invisible Empire. We're going to be taking your calls on the film. What'd you like about it? What didn't you like about it? 888-201-2244. It's the Info Warrior, Infowars.com, and PrisonPlanet.tv. So we're taking your calls at 888-201-2244 regarding Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined. Now, we're going to show you a little clip from the film. And this is a little bit into the false flag terror section. We've already covered the Gulf of Tonkin, but the next thing we cover are the OKC and First World Trade Center bombings. And the OKC is extremely important right now, today. Today it's important. Why is it important today? Because the mainstream media is talking about blonde-haired, blue-eyed Al-Qaeda. And if you remember Timothy McVeigh, he had the light complexion, the very light hair, the blue eyes, the whole nine. Exactly what they want to pin on us, the dissenters, the constitutionalists, the people who believe in the Bill of Rights, in individual freedoms. We're against collectivist mindsets. We're against tyranny and oppressive governments. Now, is Tim McVeigh some kind of an angel? Absolutely not. If you follow the evidence, he is part of a black ops squad, and those people are usually ruthless and heartless. They will kill you without a second thought. They will bomb a building without a second thought. But this attack was impossible without people on the inside, and we're going to prove it right now. Let's hit the clip.
We know for a fact now that NSA and CIA both falsified their reports up to Johnson on that day to make it look as if there had been an attack.
Upon the fall of communism, a new threat had to be established in order to maintain their military-industrial complex and keep the people in fear of invisible enemies. More modern examples of this have been used not only to start conflicts abroad, but to instill fear in large populations in order to demonize groups and further erode civil liberties. The majority of people still believe that Timothy McVeigh was a right-wing extremist who bombed the Oklahoma City building with a Ryder truck because he was upset with the government. People close to the event told a very different story.
A local congressman believes that convicted bomber Timothy McVeigh and his accused co-conspirator Terry Nichols are not the only ones involved.
The Oklahoma State Representative Charles Key produced a videotape featuring witnesses who claim to have seen Timothy McVeigh with another man the morning of the bombing.
He was wearing a ball cap. Timothy McVeigh had his on backwards, which just like this. It was on his head. The other gentleman had his on like this.
In fact, the FBI had actively pursued John Doe No. 2 in its initial investigation, then denied his existence altogether. There were also multiple reports that explosives were found inside the Murrah building.
The Justice Department is reporting that a second explosive device has been found in the AP Murrah building in downtown Oklahoma City. Mike, you're still with us, aren't you?
Yes, I am. And I might tell you, in addition to that, in fact, what we were told at the scene a few minutes ago was that, in fact, 2 different explosive devices were found in addition to the one that went off.
The second explosive was found and diffused. The third explosive that was found, and they are working on right now as we speak, I understand, both the second and third explosives, if you can imagine this, were larger than the first.
Bomb squads were actually caught on video pulling into the building to retrieve these devices.
They'll back that trailer down there, and the bomb squad folks will go in, and they will use that trailer. You see the bucket on the back there, sort of, this is how they would transport the explosive device away from this populated area to try
All right,
to
let's pause it right there. Let's pause it right there. Now let's go over what we've just seen. Off the bat, we've seen that there was a second bomber during the OKC bombings. The FBI actively pursued that person. There were no limits to the amount of actual eyewitnesses that said this. We just showed you some local news reports of them talking about the multiple explosives inside the building. And where did we just stop it? At a freeze frame of a bomb squad truck going in to get the bombs. If you're watching at prisonplanet.tv, it's right there. You can read Sheriff Bomb Truck on the vehicle. Okay, we're going to continue with this because the evidence only gets more damning. Let's continue with the clip.
I just took a look down the street at the Murrah building again. I see another bomb truck going, so apparently they're going to try to get out that third bomb that's been talked about.
This was even confirmed by the governor at the time, Frank Keating.
One device was deactivated. Apparently there's another device, and obviously whatever did the damage to the Murrah building was a tremendous, very sophisticated explosive device.
Members of the ATF who would have normally been in the building were tipped off prior to the bombing.
He saw what appeared to be a police bomb squad truck near the Murrah building 2 hours before the blast.
It had a shield on the side of the door, and it said bomb disposal or bomb squad below it, and I really found that interesting.
Another witness who spoke to ABC News on the condition of anonymity will tell the grand jury tomorrow he was told by an ATF official agents working in the building had been warned in advance not to come to work.
He just came out and told me that the ATF wasn't in the building that day. They'd been tipped by their pagers not to come to work, which I was flabbergasted.
McVeigh would even claim in a letter written to his sister, which was published by the New York Times, that he was actually recruited for black operations, which included smuggling drugs into the United States, as well as assassinations. One may brush this off as the ravings of a madman. However, McVeigh was filmed at the Camp Grafton military facility in North Dakota on August 3, 1993. McVeigh's official records state that he was discharged over a year prior from the Army Reserve in May of 1992.